بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for coming, for attending our lecture here. Well, obviously it shows that you people are actually looking for the truth, which we are all doing. Okay, and also indirectly it may show that you actually are showing trust to me and to our organization, etc. So thank you very much. And I ask Allah to help us all to find the truth. You know, the biggest enemy of the truth in our time is to be depending or to put a condition on the truth. Okay, so condition on the truth means, for example, as the nations in the time of Rasulullah when Rasulullah started the message, mission, okay, so they said, go to Muhammad, to other groups, religions, go to Muhammad, if they will give you this, accept it. And if he will give you something different, don't accept it. That is conditional truth. Means, if he accords our understanding, follow him. Otherwise, don't follow him. Okay? And then Allah replies back, saying that if truth would follow their desires, then all of the universe would get destroyed. Okay? Also, Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, once he said to his students, saying, there will be people towards Yawm al-Qiyamah, so it is us actually, me, you guys, so who will make Quran to follow their desires, to follow their actually understanding. But then he said, but Quran has been sent to guide and to make the people to follow it, but not to follow the people's egos and desires. Okay? So I would say just honesty, to be honest with yourself, is the first key toward the truth. Okay? Honesty means you know that there is a problematic thing in your understanding, but verbally you say, no, I don't have nothing, no problem. But inside you know that you don't believe on your own thing, on your own cultural thing, or the opinion of your shuyukh or your scholars. Okay? So, inshallah, today's lecture is going to be very open. Okay, so I will question you, you will question me, I'll say, you say. So we just try to come to some understanding, because all of us are looking for the truth, but no one will benefit from it except the one who keeps his mind open. As Imam Shafi'i said, what I'm saying is the truth, but it could be wrong. And what other people are saying is wrong, but that could be right also. So the one who came with this type of understanding, he will benefit from it, very good benefit. And the one who came to dictate, okay, or the one who came to challenge, so that people will come with some certain amount of understanding, they will go back with the same amount of understanding. No any progress. Okay. Anyway, now the name of the lecture today is who is the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, but the actual topic is who is the people of the truth. So I made today's lecture based on the hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي ظاهرين على الحق لا يضرهم من خذلهم أو لا يضرهم من خالفهم. Two narrations. حتى يأتي أمر الله وهم على ذلك. Hadith is nearly mutawatir. Okay, the first bit of the hadith. One group of my nation are going to stay on the truth. ظاهرين على الحق. ظاهرين in here means two things. One of them two meanings. One is ظاهرين على الحق means they see the truth all the time. Okay, and the second group, the second meaning is ظاهرين على الحق means they're standing on the truth. So one group of my nation will stay on the truth, okay, and anyone who will disown them or anyone who will oppose them, they will be vulnerable to do nothing against them. Oh, means no one, the people who will disown them, they will not make them to leave the truth that they are following, till the judgment of God will come. وَهُمْ عَلَى ذَلِكَ, and they are following the truth. Okay? And then scholars said, what is the meaning of طائفة? لا تزال طائفة من أمتي. طائفة, minimum of طائفة is one person. Maximum is just as much as it can be. But from the other side, most of the time, not all of the time, the people of the truth in comparison to the others, they were minority. Even hadith confirmed that. Rasulullah says, افترقت اليهود على 72 فرقة والنصارى إلى 73 افترقت اليهود إلى 71 فرقة والنصارى إلى 72 فرقة وستفترق أمتي إلى 73 فرقة. Hadith is there are many narrations of this hadith, and each of them has got some certain issue with it, but altogether will make a sense. Meaning, the Jews, Ummah of Musa alayhi salam, they split into 71 groups, and Christians 72, and my nation are going to split into 73 sects, 73 groups. Okay, and most of the narrations say كلهم في النار إلا واحدة. All of them are going to the hell except one. The people asked, the Sahaba asked, حلهم لنا means, can you describe them, Ya Rasulullah? So Rasulullah said, هم ما أنا عليه وأصحابي. It is the people who are doing what I am doing and what my Sahaba are doing. In weak narration, it says all of them are going to paradise except one, are going to the hell. Okay, anyway. So now, today's lecture is based on these hadith. So for example, I'm born as, for example, Sunni, so that's why I say that I follow Madhab of Ahlus Sunnah. People in Iran, or maybe some parts of Syria, Jordan, and even big parts of, for example, Saudi, they are born in the, like we can say, a Shia family, so that's why they're Shia. Someone is born in Salafi group. Okay, someone is born in Sufi. So many, and we are all following the madhab because of our family in which we were born used to follow. Now, question. It's a question to you guys, if you can just help me. What makes you to think that you are following the actual group that goes to paradise? That's my question. So for example, you are whatever you are. Why do you think that you are only the group that goes to paradise and no one else? Do you have any proof? Or is it only because you are born? And because I am born, for example, in Hanafi family, in Hanafi, you can say city. So when I used to go to the masajid, for example, alhamdulillah it never happened, but it happens a lot. In the masajid, our imams slander and insult the other groups. So is that because of that? So because of them insulting other groups, I think that our group are only going to paradise. If that's the reason, so the same thing happens with others, with Shia, with Salafis, with all of them, you know. So my question to you, why do you think that the group that you are following goes to paradise and no one else? That's my question. What do you think? Yeah, it's a question.
Because you think they're right.
Sorry?
Because you think they're right.
No, why do you think so?
You have a trust in something.
No, why do you trust? So for example, I'm born in Hanafi family. Okay, so for example, my father is Naqshbandi and my mother is Qadiri. So I'm from Sufi background. Both are Hanafis in fiqh. So that's why I'm Hanafi, for example. So my parents being something doesn't prove that that thing is right. So for example, whatever group that you follow, any group, you don't have to say what is the group that you follow, but can you prove why your group is right? Why your group is 100% going to paradise and the rest of the groups are going to the hell? Why? Please put your hand up if anyone can prove it. Okay, why?
Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to hold on to the Quran and the Sunnah.
Yeah.
So we believe that our madhab, the group that we follow, it does that, holds on to the Quran and Sunnah.
Shia also hold on to Quran and Sunnah. Actually, understanding and the number of the tafsir that's written by Shia is the most biggest number. We, Ash'aris and Maturidis, come number second. Some of the people who claim to be Ahlus Sunnah, they have only two. For example, Salafi brothers, they have only two tafsir books. Tafsir Sa'di and Al-Warban. Both of them have been written within the last 100 years. So they never were engaged into the tafsir for 1,300 years. We, Maturidis, Ash'aris, we have second largest number of tafsir. First largest number is Mu'tazila. It is Shia, Japanese. Also, they believe on hadith, but they say only the hadith of Ahlul Bayt. So what makes me different from them? They believe exactly on the same thing. Hadith and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah, they say also Quran and Sunnah. And then being concerned about Quran is above my concern. Means it's not good enough proof. So why anyone can prove why he thinks that his school of thought is going to paradise 100% and not anyone else's?
There's another saying of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam where he says, my Sahaba are like stars, so whoever follows them will be rightly guided. So you have respect for all of them. And
first of all, hadith is weak. My Sahaba being stars, anyone who follows them will be guided. That is weak hadith. Also, we, as Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we do not say that. Specifically, Hanafis, they distinguish between Sahaba. Same thing with the Shafi'is also. Same thing with everyone. Yeah. Means we just follow because we were born in that environment actually. So I am Hanafi because my parents were Hanafis. You are Shia because your parents are Shia. Okay, or for example, you are Mu'tazili because you were born in Mu'tazili city or country. Means, so now another question. Do you think that belief which is not based on proof can save us? You know, what is the belief, Iman, that saves you? You try to understand this one. We Ahlus Sunnah do believe that the last ever statement can change everything that was before. Am I right? People just before their death will neglect God. They die as a kuffar, even though if they used to be Muslims all their lifetime. Am I right? Now you take this one. Well, let's suppose that now you're walking, okay, in the street. No one is in there, and suddenly big tiger just jumped in front of you. I can take oath if you want that you will forget most of the things that you used to know. Am I right? Some of us will forget his name also. Do you understand what I mean? So isn't it that the last statement of you saying La ilaha man kana akhir kalamihi la ilaha dakhala al-jannah hadith, in which anyone who says La ilaha as last word, he will enter paradise. So only tiger, which is one of the smallest creatures, we used to see it for thousands of times during our lifetime. It makes you to forget your name also. So what do you think about the angel of death? So it should be Iman, your belief should be based on something such as solid, which keeps you there even when you will see all of them scary things. And you being born in Hanafi family doesn't keep you up there. Am I right? Means our Iman is not what we should be having. So that's why we did organize this speech here today. Okay, so it was quite academical speech, but I will try to make it so inshallah everyone can understand it, inshallah. So there are two ways. There are only two ways, there is no third one. There are only two ways of finding the true sect, true group, which is going to paradise. Only two, there is no third one. So you are either finding the truth by first way or second way. No any third way. Third way is misguidance. The most popular one is the first one, and that's the most tricky one, most deceiving one, the most difficult one. And the most easiest one is the second, but that's the rarely trusted one. You will see it today, inshallah. Now, in terms of two ways of finding the truth. Now we all of us agree that Quran and Sunnah is a true guide toward the truth. Am I right? There is nothing else. Shia believe on this, Salafis say the same, Hanafis, Ash'aris, Malikis, everyone, Sufis, even the Ismailis, everyone believes that truth is in Quran and Sunnah. Okay, no disagreement. But now, question, so if all of us agree on the same point, then why we split into many groups? It's in terms of applying them two ways. Because we apply the first way, which is the most difficult one, so it causes confusion. Okay? So now, obviously, so as you understood, we are not concerned about explaining who is Ahlus Sunnah, but our main aim to explain who goes to paradise. So we say it's Ahlus Sunnah. Shia says Shia. So for the Shia, it's not honor to be Sunni. Do you know what I mean? But it is honor to be the true sect. Okay, so today's topic is who is Ahlus Sunnah. It is just a bit strange, but the main topic is who is that sect who is going to paradise. But in terms of the people who are claiming to be from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, everyone knows them. Okay, so it is Maturidis, it is Ash'aris, it is Salafis, it is Deobandis, it is Brelwis, it is Sufis. All of them claim to be from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Okay, no any of them say that we are not, as well as Zahiris. Zahiris, all of them believe that they are from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Okay, now I'm not going to speak about any of them groups. Okay, I do follow one of them, but I'm not going to touch any of them. But I'm going to explain them two ways. Okay, and it's going to help you. So today you are going to get the equipment of finding the truth. If you use it properly, inshallah you find the truth. Okay. So the first way, the most common way, what do we say? They say if you want to find the truth, for example, I want to see if Hanafi madhab goes to paradise or not. So how do I test it? How do I check it? Same two ways. The first way is they say compare each single mas'ala of Hanafi madhab to Quran and Sunnah to find how close and how far. So if it is very close, means it goes to paradise. It is very, very difficult, very hard way. Okay? I would say nearly impossible. Okay? Why? Because for you to compare each single mas'ala of Hanafi madhab to Quran and Sunnah, you have to have very good knowledge of the official position of the Hanafi madhab, as well as you have to have very good understanding of Quran and Sunnah. You know? It is very difficult. But what about if you work as a group? Same problem. And on top of that, the ego of yours is there. Okay? Or your orientation will be there. If you are Hanafi, so you will try to twist the Hanafi madhab to look like Quran and Sunnah. But if you are anti-Hanafi, even the most Sunni mas'al of the Hanafi madhab, you will try to separate it from Quran and Sunnah, you know? So all of them, you can say, problems are there. All of them problems are there. Okay? But that is the most common used way. But there is another second way, which is the most easiest one. There is know any incident that would happen with this nation up to Yawm al-Qiyamah which Rasulullah ﷺ did not speak about. Am I right? Whenever people will split into two groups, like Muslims, and who is going to be the truth and who is going to be on the false way, Rasulullah spoke about all of them. Am I right? Imam Ali, Huzayfah ibn al-Yaman says, there is no any movement which happens until Yawm al-Qiyamah, till Yawm al-Qiyamah, which is numbers will be 300 or more, but I know all of the movements, and even I know the leader of that group by his name and by his father's name. Means, so you guys Maturidis, you guys Salafis, you guys Ash'aris, all of that is movement. If it includes 300 and plus, your name is mentioned by Rasulullah, the leader's name mentioned, Abu Hasan Ash'ari mentioned, his father's name is also mentioned. Not only that, Imam Ali says, there is no any movement which has 100 members, not 300, but 100 and plus. But I know the name of the leader and his father's name. Means we don't need to compare each single mas'ala into Quran and Sunnah, but just go to find what Rasulullah says about your group. That's the easiest way, but rarely used. Am I right? Rarely used. But the most common way is the first way. Okay, for example, they say Hanafi madhab is the most furthest madhab to the Sunnah, and the most closest is Hanbali, the second most closest is Maliki, then Shafi'i, then Hanbali. And just exclude the Hanafis, for example, from the... So, it's just incorrect conclusion. Okay? Because for you to compare between some madhab and Quran and Sunnah, you have to use some principles. So if that principle is set up by Hanafi, so it will be the most closest. But if that principles to compare the distance, to measure the distance between some madhab and Quran and Sunnah, if these principles are set up by anti-Hanafis, so the Hanafis are going to be the most distanced madhab from Quran and Sunnah. Am I right? But when you go with the second way of finding the truth, it is such obvious, and you will just laugh at yourself. You will be amazed how people don't know such easy way. I will give you an example. Look, it's not you, it's not Abu Hanifa, it's not Malik, it's not that Mujtahid, but even Sahaba, they followed the first way and they did make many mistakes. For example, do you remember when friction happened between Muawiyah and Ali? Radiallahu anhuma. Some people took the side of Muawiyah, some people took the side of Ali, radiallahu anhu. Am I right? Because the incident happened because of the blood of Uthman, radiallahu anhu. Am I right? Muawiyah said, Uthman is my cousin. I am claiming his revenge before I will give you bay'ah. Imam Ali said, I cannot take revenge before I will be appointed as a judge. And you are not allowing me to be judge. How I can chase off someone for the revenge? So both made ijtihad. Am I right? Ibn Umar, so some of the Sahaba, for example, Abu Talha, Sayyidah Aisha, and many, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, and even his son Abu, many groups, they followed Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. Because of ijtihad, they did compare the statements of both to Quran and Sunnah. So they found that the judgment of Muawiyah was closer than other groups. Okay. So for example, Ammar and all of them, Sahaba, they followed Imam Ali. They did exactly the same thing. They compared judgment of Imam Ali and Muawiyah to Quran and Sunnah. So they thought the judgment of Ali was closer. Am I right? Disagreement happened. Am I right? So that is the first way. So not Abu Hanifa Malik, but even Sahaba, they made mistake. But when Ammar was killed, finish. Rasulullah said, تَقْتُلُكَ الْفِئَةُ الْبَاغِيَةُ. The rebellions will kill you. Rebellions and misguided people. They're wrong. They're following the false. So Rasulullah said to Ammar, the false group will kill you. And when it happened, the description of the group who was following the truth came to the reality. Everyone backed off. Everyone backed off. People went to join Imam Ali because now truth was very obvious. Okay? And even if you remember, Zubair ibn al-Awwam, his one of the top Sahaba, am I right? Faqih. Even he made mistake by using the first way. He followed Muawiyah when he compared judgments to Quran and Sunnah. And then he came to have a battle against Ali. And Ali radiallahu anhu said, is Zubair there? They said yes. So he said, I want to speak to Zubair one-to-one. So when Zubair came, he said, Zubair, don't you remember when we were wrestling, Rasulullah came and found us. And then he said, Ya Zubair, don't you love Ali? So then Zubair said, Ya Rasulullah, how come I don't love him? When he's my cousin and when he's Muslim and I'm Muslim, why I shouldn't love him? So then Ali said, then Rasulullah said, I swear by the name of God that you will fight with him and you will be oppressing him. So then Ali reminded him, he said, don't you remember that? Zubair remembered. He said, Wallahi, I forgot it, but now you reminded me. And then so two armies facing each other, now about to start the battle between Muslims. So Zubair, after remembering that, they say he didn't even go back to the army, but from there he went back to Medina. And while he was praying, he has been chopped off, he has been killed. You see, so Zubair, top Sahabi, made mistake, on that way, the first way of finding the truth. But the second way, when he remembered, it was so obvious that he went back. So Rasulullah when he left us, he didn't leave us alone with Quran and Sunnah, comparing each single mas'ala, saying these groups are the most closest and those are the most. It's not that. But on top of that, he left the description of the guided groups up to Yawm al-Qiyamah and the misguided group up to Yawm al-Qiyamah. Am I right? So for example, Khawarij, isn't it that Rasulullah said to Ali, you will fight with the misguided people, even the leader of them, the arm of the leader of them will look like the breast of the ladies. So he's giving such clear description and explanation of the leaders of the misguided groups. And after all of that, we just twist everything just to compare. It's only the people who know that they're misguided, they will spread the first way to make it so complicated. Okay? So when you go with the first way, even if you find the truth, that is accidental, by accident. Because it's so difficult. Even the people above you, Zubair ibn al-Awwam, and all of them, Sahaba, making mistake by using the first way. But when second way came to the reality, everyone was so clear about things. Isn't it that Rasulullah described the Khawarij saying, you guys will be fighting with a group of misguided people. If you compare your namaz to their namaz, you will find your namaz as just miserable. When you compare your siyam into their siyam, you will find your siyam fasting as miserable. And then Rasulullah said, do you think that they are having something? Sahaba confused, if they are praying Allah, so then it could be. They said, we don't know, Ya Rasulullah. Rasulullah said, they are the fuel of the hellfire. Khawarij. So there is not any group. So it may not be by the names which is famous now, but the description of all of the groups that we have, including Dilbandis, Brelus, Salafis, Sufis, Hanafis, Malikis, everyone is there, but by their description. Now, let's go back to the same ahadith that we all the time narrate on the minbars. It is the ahadith that makes us to say, Subhanallah, Zindabad, Zindabad, Haydari, Ya Abu Bakr, So these are the ahadith. But now I don't want Zindabad, but I want thinking. Because we've been doing Zindabad for such a long time that we were unable today to prove. Why do you think that you are going to paradise? So we don't want the Zindabad business no more. So now let's think. Okay? Allah says, "Inna fi zalika la ayatin li ulil albab." Indeed, in these ayat, in these verses and ahadith, there is good sign for the people of the albab, brain. The people who think. The people who analyze. Okay, Allah says, الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَ. The believers are those who listen to all of the statements, but then follow the best one. Okay, so let's think. Emotional things, emotions will make us blind and blind. Okay, so let's think. Hadith narrated nearly by everyone. Hadith is narrated by Imam Bukhari, by Muslim, by Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, Abu Dawud, Ahmad, everyone. Okay? Rasulullah ﷺ saying, خَيْرُ الْقُرُونِ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ 3 times. And then he said, ثُمَّ يَفْشُ الْكَذِبِ. So the best generation is my generation, means Sahaba, and the generation after Tabi'in, and 3rd generation, Atba' Tabi'in. And after them, يَفْشُ الْكَذِبِ. People will start lying. Okay? So, does it mean that Rasulullah was praising the first 3 generations in terms of them not lying? Because at the end, Rasulullah says, ثُمَّ يَفْشُ الْكَذِبِ. So that extra of يَفْشُ الْكَذِبِ is narrated only in one narration, but the rest of the narrations without this extra. ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ 3 times. Okay? Now, means any group, does not matter if it is a group of belief, that what we call aqidah, that what we call theology, the group of belief or group of practicing. Practicing means fiqh. So anything that was set up within them 3 generations, Rasulullah did praise them. Am I right? So if you want to find the truth, just follow the school of thought that has been set up within the first 3 generations. Okay? Well, obviously, it will necessitate you guys to go back to read the history. Now we have so many sects, so many groups. Which one of them groups were set up within the first 3 generations? Maybe some of us may say, I'm going to follow whatever is narrated from Sahaba and Tabi'in, just I will bring everything and just I will follow it. I said that is not a good option, but follow something which has been set up from A till Z by the same group. Okay? If you want, I will give you an example. What do you think? What do you think about, for example, Tabi'in? One of them called Mujahid. Mujahid bin Jabr. Have you heard about him? Mufassir. Mufassir of Islam. Used to believe that angels can commit sin. Which type of sin? Zina. Would you follow him? But he's Tabi'in. My question, did Mujahid write book of Aqidah, or did he dictate some book of Aqidah, or did he set up any school of thought? Aqidah, fiqh? No. Means you never can be sure what was the Aqidah of Mujahid. This is Kufri Aqidah, but is that what he used to believe? If narrators are not lying, if narrators are not fabricating, it could be. But there is big possibility of narrators lying and fabricating. Am I right? Why? Because the people who are narrating this from him is only one from one. But get something which has been set up within the first 3 generations, and from the author of that group, it has been narrated by hundreds. That's what I can say, yes, it is something. Okay? So this is the first way. Just go and find out which group, doesn't matter Aqidah and doesn't matter fiqh, was set up within the first 3 generations. That is the first criteria. The second criteria, hey Allah, Rasulullah says, hadith is in many different narrations. I'm going to mention one of them. Well, obviously, some of these ahadith could be weak, but some of them are authentic, and all of them being together, it will strengthen each other. Okay? So here is the hadith. اتبعوا السواد الأعظم فإنه من شذ شذ في النار. Rasulullah hadith is in Ibn Majah, narrated by Anas ibn Malik. Means اتبعوا السواد الأعظم. Follow the vast majority, biggest. السواد الأعظم means the biggest, the majority of the people. In here, people does not mean the average, normal, ignorant people, but follow the majority of the scholars. Biggest number of the scholars. فإنه من شذ شذ في النار. Anyone who will just go against the majority, anyone who will be on his own, so he will be punished on his own in the hell. Okay? If you remember in different hadith, Rasulullah is saying, stay with the big group because the wolf normally takes the sheep which walks on its own. Do you remember that hadith? You take another one. إن الله لا يجمع أمتي على ضلالة ويد الله على الجماعة ومن شذ شذ في النار. رواه الترمذي عن ابن عمر. Means Allah does not combine, Allah does not take my ummah, all of them, into the misguidance. Okay, means whenever the scholars will come to one thing, so that will never be misguidance. Okay, but whenever they disagree, okay, so the truth is with one of them, but whenever they will come to one thing, so that cannot be misguidance. Okay, as well as the same hadith is narrated by Mustadrak, again from Ibn Umar. لا يجمع الله هذه الأمة على الضلالة أبدا. Allah never combines, Allah never brings my nation, this nation, on the falsehood. وقال يد الله على الجماعة. And then Rasulullah said the power, the strength, and the support of God is above the jama'ah, means the group. And yadullah in here does not mean the hand of God on top of the group, because now we are sitting. It does not mean that hand of God, part of God is on top. It means support of God. God supports the big number of people. فَاتَّبِعُوا السَّوَادَ. So that's why, because Allah does not misguide the majority, so that's why follow the majority. فَإِنَّهُ مَنْ شَذَّ شُذَّ فِي النَّارِ. Because anyone who will be on his own, so he will be punished on his own in Yawm al-Qiyamah. رواه Ahmad. Yeah, and also the hadith about that sheep is the narration of Mu'adh ibn Jabal in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. Rasulullah after mentioning that sheep and the shepherd example, Rasulullah said, وَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالْجَمَاعَ وَالْعَامَّةِ. So follow the group, the majority of the group. Okay. In the different narration, in the narration of Ahmad and Abu Dawud from Abu Dhar, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من فرق الجماعة شبرا فقد خلع ربقة الإسلام عن عنقه. Anyone who will be detached, separated from the Jama'ah, from the major group of the Muslims, so he will be misguided. خلع ربقة الإسلام عن عنقه means, so he will remove the responsibility or the name of Islam from his neck. Okay, so also there are many other hadiths. So the hadiths are from Abu Malik al-Ash'ari. There are many ahadiths. Again, all of them are coming back to the same meaning in terms of the majority of the scholars of this nation will not be misguided. Now, what we can do is since. For example, we'll start from the 1st century, from the time of Sahaba. Obviously, the Sahaba and Tabi'in and about Tabi'in. So, and up to our time. And we carry on counting the scholars. Okay? So if I can, obviously in the time of Sahaba and Tabi'in, Sahaba were there. Okay? So that's why there is no big issue. So, because if anyone will be misguided, so the truth is on the side of Sahaba. Am I right? So from the time of Atba' al-Tabi'in up to our time, I want the brothers to give me a name of the scholar. Okay? One name, each of you. Just to find out the majority of the scholars. Which group do they follow? Which sect do they follow? Because Rasulullah says that the majority of the scholars of my nation will not be misguided. So, please give me any name that you know.
Ibn Taymiyyah.
Ibn Taymiyyah, excellent. Nawawi. Sorry? Ibn al-Jawzi, Hanbali.
Imam
Suyuti. Ibn Hajar Asqalani. Ghazali. Ibn Qayyim.
Abu Hanifa.
From the time of Atba' al-Tabi'in. Do you have anything online? Okay, he's from Atba' al-Tabi'in, Sufyan al-Thawri, okay. Because he met Abu Hanifa. Abdul Wahhab al-Sha'rani. Abdul Maliki, Sufi. Abdul Wahhab al-Sha'rani from Egypt. Abdul Wahhab al-Sha'rani, okay, he's Maliki, Ash'ari, Sufi. Abdul Wahhab al-Sha'rani.
Abdul Qadir Jilani.
Abdul Qadir Hanbali, okay. Ahmad Sirhindi, Hanafi, Maturidi. Okay, now we have 10 names. Let's look into their groups now. First one, we started off with Ibn Taymiyyah. Okay, and the second one was Nawawi, Asqalani, Ghazali, Suyuti, okay, Ahmad Sirhindi, Abdul Wahhab Sha'rani, okay, and who else? Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah. Okay, so we have got then Abdul Qadir al-Jilani. Okay, so majority in here are being Ash'aris. One, Nawawi, Asqalani, okay, and then Suyuti, Ghazali, Abdul Wahhab Sha'rani, okay, and who else? Who else mentioned? So five Ash'aris. Ibn al-Jawzi, Hanbali, in terms of Aqidah, he is Mufawwid, similar to the Maturidis. So he is on his own, separate. Okay? Shaykh ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, in terms of fiqh, both are Hanbalis, and in terms of Aqidah, both are Karramis. Okay? And who else? And Nawawi, Ghazali, Ibn Hajar Asqalani, Suyuti, Abdul Wahhab Sha'rani, all of them are Ash'aris. Okay, I can give you much more names. Have you heard about Qastalani, Al-Kirmani, okay, Fakhruddin Razi, Imam Al-Juwayni, okay, Ibn Ata'illah Secondary, okay, and please, can you catch up? Just give me names. Ibn Sina, Hanafi, okay. Abu al-Hasan Ash'ari Ash'ari Maliki. Sorry? Ibn Khaldun Maliki Ash'ari also. Ibn Rushd again, he's philosopher, Maliki Ash'ari. Anyone else? Sorry? Ibn Hazm, Zahiri in terms of Aqidah, he's Ash'ari. He's Mufawwid. He's Munazzih. He does not believe on the parts and limbs of God. And he had extraordinary love towards Rasulullah. Do you know the Bradley brothers? If you compare their all love in one side and half of the love of Ibn Hazm towards Rasulullah, it will be his love will be much above them. He had just unbelievable love towards Rasulullah. And in terms of fiqh, he used to be Maliki and he became Mujtahid Zahiri. Ash'ari, we can say Jahmi Zahiri, Ash'ari Zahiri. Anyone else, please? Tusturi, well, we know him. He's also, in terms, all of the Sufis are Mufawwid, except the Hanbali Sufis, so they follow the Hululi belief. God being in the, like animals, or God appearing in front of them, so them are Hululis. Okay. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, obviously he is in terms of, he never has written any book in Aqidah, okay, but in terms of fiqh, he is the student of Imam Malik and Abu Hanifa. Anything else, please? So now you do have the equipment. Now I gave you two skills. One is the Aqidah and the school of thought of the Salaf al-Salih, Okay, but don't go with everyone says that I follow the Aqidah of Salaf Salih. But saying one thing, but actual doing is totally different. Because now you go to Sufis, they say we're following Salaf Salih. You go to Hanafis, say the same thing, but ask for actual text so you can compare it, you can see it. Okay, so now go and write down the names of the scholars that you know, the scholars of Islam. Okay. Ibn Salah, okay, Rama Hurmuzi, okay, so all of them, Khatib al-Baghdadi, Ash'ari, Shafi'i, so just look into the names, the list of the names, and then put them into the groups. Okay, and the majority names will fall in one group. Means this is the correct, true sect of Islam. Because Rasulullah is secure. He said, majority of my nation will not go to the hell. Majority of the nation will not be misguided. Majority does not mean the ignorant people, but majority means scholars. Majority of the scholars. Okay? Some of the sects, God bless them, they can count 10 of their scholars and other groups will mention only one and they will carry on in the competition, and the people who will be counting only one, they will stop in one sense, but the people who are counting tens and tens for one, they will carry on counting, you know. Okay, so is it possible within 1,400 years of Islam we have only 2 or 3 scholars and everyone is misguided? Is it possible? Rasulullah says no, it's impossible. So this is another skill for you to weigh. Where is the truth? Okay. Obviously, there was some certain problems about the majority. Some of the sects, when they looked into the history, when they looked back, they couldn't see the name of the scholars being more than the name of the opposite groups. So now they have to twist. They have to criticize this narration of the majority. Because nowhere, otherwise they're going to the hell. They're losing the battle. So what did they say? So one of them said, I'm not going to mention the names, he said, the hadith of the majority does not exist. Hadith is in Ibn Majah and Mustadrak al-Hakim. Okay? Yeah. And some of them said, oh, you know, actually, the majority, this hadith is there, but majority in here means Sahaba. So now, it is my question to you, does it mean, so majority, is it another name of Sahaba? So it is the same as you will say, okay, I want a drink. They will bring a drink to you, and then you will shout at them, why did you bring a drink for me when I asked you for the car? Well, you asked for drink. No, I didn't say drink, I said drink, but I meant car. So is majority, is it another name? Is it synonymous to the Sahaba? Is it another name of Sahaba? What do you think? Means Rasulullah is the best Arabian who spoke in the very most obvious language. He said something and we didn't understand what he said. So he said majority, and majority, according to him, was one group, you know? Only one group, Sahaba. Okay? Means either Prophet does not know the Arabic language or either no one else knows the Arabic language. Because majority means biggest number. Means there are many groups, majority means the group with biggest number. That's the meaning of majority. Okay? So that is another thing. Also, even if we go with the majority of being Sahaba, so in that case, does it mean that Rasulullah is saying, Allah will not misguide my Sahaba? Means, rest of my nation will be misguided. Is that what it meant to be? Isn't it that Rasulullah is saying, the first 3 generations, but then what to do with the Sahaba? Only Sahaba. Does it mean that even Tabi'in, that all of them are misguided? Okay? And on top of that, Allah says, أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْكُمْ, and follow the people of judgment. Scholars, Ibn Abbas said, fuqaha. So does it mean that Allah is ordering us to follow the misguided people? Why? Because anyone besides Sahaba are misguided. It is funny, it is silly, you know. So if you remember in the very beginning of my lecture, I said just free your mind. Free your mind to find the truth. Or otherwise you will be doing these type of silly things, you know. So now, just to support your sect, you are insulting the Prophet. So Prophet said something and he did use incorrect words. Means Prophet does not know how to speak and you came to correct him. It is very silly, you know. Open your mind. Okay? Let the truth to be established, then grab on it. Don't do that, you will establish your own things and grab. It's not that. Let it to come by itself and then you follow it, you know. Okay? Yeah, so it's not matching. Okay? And then another interpretation of the majority. So they said majority actually in here means the one who is following the truth, even if he is on his own, one person. For example, Ghazali is following the truth means he is the majority. Whatever we said about the previous interpretation is applicable on the same one. So it doesn't mean that Rasulullah does not know Arabic language. So instead of saying follow the truth, he said follow the big number. What's the meaning of big number? Number means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number means big number, majority. Big quantity, you know. But you say truth is the majority. Truth is one. Truth never can be majority, you know. Truth is one. Okay? But because the brothers who are finding their imams only one or two in the history, they're struggling with this hadith. Now, they are not willing to change their mind also because they spent long time following their two imams. Okay? But in the same time, hadith is there also. And they don't want to look ugly in front of the people, saying that they don't follow the hadith, so now let's twist the hadith. Majority means one, even if you follow the truth. Okay? Silly. Also, they say, oh, you know, actually, we cannot accept this hadith. Why? Look into Quran. Wherever Allah mentions the majority, Allah mentions it by evil. Okay, for example, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وما ظن الذين يفترون على الله الكذب يوم القيامة إن الله لذو فضل على الناس ولكن أكثرهم لا يشكرون. The majority of the people are not grateful. ولكن أكثر الناس لا يؤمنون. ولو حرصت وما أكثر الناس ولو حرصت. The majority of the people are disbelievers, even if you will be desperate. Means majority is all the time blamed. It is criticized in Quran. Now it is in there, you know, it is in academical books, you know. I'm not mentioning the names because I don't want to cause a friction, you know. But if I will mention who has written this book, some of the brothers will be offended, you know. So now, do you say that majority which is blamed in Quran is the same majority which is praised in Hadith? Rasulullah ﷺ is speaking about the majority of the scholars, and majority of the scholars are praised all the time. I challenge you. Even the group that you follow, if Hadith is by Bukhari, but if Hadith is by Bukhari and Muslim, so 4 fingers, you know. But if Hadith is by more than that, all of the fingers. Means even you believe on this one. But you are saying it just to deceive us, you know, just to misguide us, you know. Why not to be honest? Why not to say the truth? Oh, in Quran it is the majority all the time, but majority of the people, not majority of the scholars. Majority of the scholars are strength. It is the strength. Ijma, concept of ijma. What's the meaning of concept of ijma? Concept of ijma that all of the scholars came together means it gives certainty. Means when it gives you certainty by all of them scholars, means you have to say all of them are evil. Means I disagree with them. Do you do it? No. Why? Same philosophy, no? Same principle. Okay? So I suggest, let the Prophet say and then you follow. Don't twist it. Just follow. Because Rasulullah, in tuti'uhu tahtadu, Allah says, if you obey him, you will be guided, you know. Why to put your mouth, your word into his mouth? Just to justify for your 2 imams or 3 imams that you follow. Why? Wallahi, Islam is very rich. Richest religion, you know. We have thousands of imams, but unfortunately they are not on your side. Means be on their side if they are not on your side, you know. Silly. Another thing. So that is the second skill. The first skill was the fiqh and aqidah that is set up within the first 3 generations. Go and read the history. Now we do have the groups. Some of them has a beginning 200 years ago. Some of them have a beginning of 50 years ago. Some of them 800, some of them 900, but some of them right in the time of the Tabi'een. You know? And Rasulullah praised them 3 generations. You know? It's a good one. So the second skill is the majority of the scholars. Majority of the scholars. Now pick up a pen and go and ask the brothers and sisters. Search on the internet and go and read the biography books to list the names of the scholars and then compare the numbers. Okay? They say the most reliable science is maths. Unless you are skeptic. For the skeptics, 2 is less than 1. You could see today some of the sects also saying the same thing. Big number means 1. Why? Because God is 1 also, so that's bigger number. You know? Just zindabad business again. Now, so the second skill is the majority. Go and write down the list of the scholars and compare. Find out which group did they follow. You know? I'm not trying to be offensive to you, but I'm trying to help you out. I'm, alhamdulillah, confident about my belief. Because the same filters I did find after a long time, wallahi, believe me, after a very long time. I was engaged with the groups. I'm not going to mention the name because then straight away we will say he's undercover there. But I will mention the most opposite one. I was engaged with the Shia, Ja'faris. Because of comparing, you know, the first way. On top of that, the biggest number of my relatives who live in Iran and Bahrain and Iraq, they're Shia, Ja'faris also. Okay? But, so I came through all of them, you know. So what I'm giving you now is the result of 20, 25 years of hardship and research, you know. So not being offensive, and I don't want to insult your imams. I respect them, but they're wrong. They're wrong. According to the skill that I'm giving you. Okay? Another skill. Rasulullah says, إن من أشراط الساعة انتشار الجهل وقلة العلم أو عدمه. So it is many ahadith. It is nearly mutawatir. The knowledge being more than and being a lot now. Am I right? Is there anyone who disagrees with me that knowledge will be lifted one after the other? It is a hadith. Am I right? Knowledge is the truth. Knowledge is the equivalent of finding the truth. Am I right? Means the people of the truth are the people of knowledge. So the people of knowledge means the people of knowledge, they were more before and less now. Am I right? And the people of ignorance, they were less than, more now. Means the true sect of Islam is the sect who had many members before, less members now. Many scholars, teachers before and less now. Now again another mathematician business. Go and check the names of imams of your sect before and compare it to the other sects. What is the number of them? And what is the number of now us? I'm Maturidi from my side. I swear by the name of God, I don't know any Maturidi except maybe 1 or 2 in our time. Just from my side. Just take it from my side. But Maturidis in the past, have you heard about Abu Layth al-Samarqandi? There are 3 of them. All of them Abu Layth, all of them Samarqandis. One is Muhaddith, Mufassir, and one is Faqih. Nasafi, hundreds of them. Tirmidhis, okay, hundreds of them. Go to the books, the biographies of the Hanafis and Mat. You will see hundreds of them. But in our time, there is not a single one. At least I haven't seen any. So that is from my side. Also, people claim a lot of things in our time. Don't trust them. They claim. Now I claim that I follow Salaf. You claim also. Shia also claim. Sufis also claim. Salafis, everyone claims. But it's impossible that we're all following the same people and such big distance between us. Means someone is lying. Who is? No one will say it's me. But you have to be honest with yourself, you know. Go and check. So the truth sect is the sect who had bigger number of the scholars in the past, but has less number of the scholars in our time. And the misguided group is the group who had less number or even none any in the past, but big number in our time. I'm not going to point out the names, and I'm really sorry I mentioned Maturidis, but you just be independent. You be independent and look for yourself. Don't email me, don't contact me, don't challenge me, but just for your own confidence, for your own certainty, for your own peace of mind. Go and check it, compare. Knowledge was more than, less now. That's it. Hadith is very famous, and it is in Bukhari, in Muslims, everywhere. Okay. The next hadith is even more dangerous, more offensive for the people who have very locked mind. Rasulullah ﷺ says, إن الله يبعث على رأس كل مئة عام من يجدد لأمتي أمر دينها أو كما قال. Okay, this hadith has been narrated by different texts. Okay, in some of the texts, some extras. Okay, but we are not going to that extras, but only the main thing which is repeated in all of the texts. Rasulullah says, Allah will release, Allah will send, okay, at the end of each 100 years, someone who will renew the duty of my nation. In each 100 years, there will be one, as minimum. Then Imam Ahmad said, we looked into the history, so we found that Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was the first one. Then we looked into it again, and then we found that Imam Shafi'i was second one. Go and read the history of the Mujaddideen. Look, don't trust everyone claims to be Mujaddid. Rasulullah clearly gave us criteria. First one, ala ra'si mi'ati am, means at the end of 100 years, means he should be known already as a scholar, as a great scholar, at the end of the century, and he should stay for a short bit in the next century also. Ala ra'si kulli mi'ati am. Okay? When you go to the people about whom they claim that he's Mujaddid, you will find that just one day or 1 year before 100 years, he will be dead. Okay? And then go and check. For example, one of them is Imam Ghazali, obviously. Am I right? He died at 550, at the age of 55 years old. Yet young man. Go and find. Hanafis bring their own list. Shafis bring their own list. Everyone will bring their own list. But you have 3 criteria. First one is, at the end of the century, he should be already well-known scholar. He should complete that century, dying in the very beginning of the next century. The second thing, he should be well known. Because for the person who is renewing whole religion, so it's not something that between me and you, and I'm renewing it here. It's not that, but he's renewing it in big scales. Okay? And third condition is him bringing back the issues which was neglected in the past. People are getting engaged into some certain thing and he brings them back. 3 criteria. Go and check them. Okay, so I'm not going to be offensive, but one of the sects, they brought their list. So then, if it is 1,400, so there should be 14 names as max, or averagely. Okay? And then they brought, because they didn't have sufficient number of the scholars, so 5, 6 like centuries in between 2, 3, it was just empty. And even those names that they brought, they died at the middle of the century. Okay, something, for example, let's say 930s, 900, for example, 50s. It's not Ahlus Sunnah. It is middle. وسط 100 عام. It is middle of the 100 years. It's not the end of the century. So you have 3 criteria. Go and check. Because look, Rasulullah is not mentioning these names, so we can say Zindabad. But it is something that we can look into and then be guided, you know. Because Allah described Rasulullah saying, Harisun alaykum. He's very desperate to keep you, you know. Means he will not leave us confused. He will not leave us misguided.